Okay, I'd like to call the meeting of the Joint Special School Building Committee to order. We're in the Nashua High School North Boardroom. It's Thursday, November 21st, 2024. It's 7:15 p.m. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Sure can. Alderman Dowd?
Present.
Alderman Wilshire? Here. Alderwoman Timmons?
Here.
Alderman Sullivan?
Here.
Alderman Lopez?
Here.
Miss Raymond?
Here.
Miss Bishop is here. Miss Gilio?
Here.
Miss Daniels-Williams?
Here.
Miss Printon?
Here.
We have a quorum,
All right, all present.
Wow.
Okay.
right? 1, 2, 3.
If the clerk would now read the prayer and would Alderman Wilshire lead us in the pledge?
Almighty God, we have the high honor and serious duty to manage the educational affairs of our beloved city. Fill us, O God, with a spirit of unity and understanding, which enables us to face our multiple problems with a serene mind, with justice and charity for all, so that any and all decisions made by us will always be for the betterment and greater happiness of all of our fellow citizens. So help us God. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if there are no objections, I'll waive the reading of the minutes of our October 30th, 2024 meeting and place them on file. Remarks by chairman. Tonight, we're going to be going through some analysis on the funding from the school projects. Also, we're going to be starting to touch on Stellus Stadium work. The company was here the Monday after I signed the contract on Friday, and the work is proceeding along very well, and we'll talk. Sean, when do you want to cover that in the agenda?
Down towards the bottom, just before the invoices.
Okay. So, but it is moving along, and the project is under contract to be completed by December 21st. So right at the moment, they have torn up all the existing surface that was there, and they are working on the drainage. Okay. Marks by school administration. Dr. Andrade, anything?
Nothing new or significant, but again, really appreciate all the work going on in the schools and in the partnerships with the Harriman, Harvey, and EEI. Just again, the transformation has been incredible, and special thanks to Mr. Smith's leadership through all these projects. So, thank you.
All right. So next is construction manager's report. Harvey.
Hello, everyone. Brendan Arell, Harvey Construction, project manager. Bring you through a few updates on Pennachuck and Dr. Crisp, and also Maine Dunstable and Birch Hill. So Pennachuck dehumidification, just have a few bullet points on the top left-hand corner. So this project is going to be closed out here in the next couple of weeks. We're working on just finalizing the subcontracts, closing all of those out. And then we will be coming next month with a final bill for the project, as well as a PCCO to credit back any remaining funds. Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable, I have some pictures here. We're moving through the gymnasium renovations as we speak. EEI's team has been working really hard, getting all the ductwork and everything up in the ceilings. We've removed the temporary classrooms in their entirety, as you can see in the top right-hand corner, and return the space almost to how it used to look. We are now working on getting all of the acoustic panels mounted up on the deck. They also line the perimeters of the wall, and those have been installed very quickly. We've also been working on removing some of the exterior doors, putting in new doors, and just quickly progressing through the remaining renovation of this area. Moving into January, we will have the floor refinishing company moving in. And then after that, we will move forward with the installation of the new gymnasium equipment, wall pads, et cetera. In Phase 5, this is the art and music area of both schools, progressing almost at the same pace, about a week behind at Birch Hill, just due to the fact that me and Dunstable started a couple weeks ahead. You can see here in the top left-hand corner some pictures of nearly completed space. Flooring has been placed down, wall base has been run, walls have been constructed, painted, and completed. And we're starting to populate some of the specialties items, some of the signage, and some of the millwork has been populated as well. Over at Birch Hill, that is the right side here. That was about 2 weeks ago, so the space has progressed and is starting to look much more like Main Dunstable. In the coming weeks, we'll be working through some of the remaining finishes, and we are tracking these for an early turnover of Christmas break at both schools. Few updates of the entry vestibules. We were just working with Harriman's team to finalize some accent color paints, some of the specialties items that were installed, installing the final metal panels at the exterior, and then the exterior letters will go on at Main Dunstable during the next week. Any questions on Birch Hill or Main Dunstable?
Any questions? If you haven't seen the spaces, it's amazing. It's they've really done great work. It's quite a transformation on the entry capabilities, and Dr. Chris much more secure. And Birch Hill and Main Dunstable, things change every single day, so it's hard to keep up to date with pictures because they continually are doing something there. So it's working out very well.
As Alderman Dowd mentioned, so down at Dr. Crisp, we were able to get in there on one of the days off and install the window that had been replaced, or we had slated to replace towards the end of the project. So that has been completed, and that project is in the same state as Pennachuck, where we are just finalizing subcontracts, bringing toward the final bill for next month, and then bringing back a PCCO to credit back any remaining funds there as well. And the last two slides, I added these in. So Alderman Dowd had just asked me to give a quick update on phasing over at Birch Hill and Main Dunstable, and just sort of how the project will progress over the coming months as we move towards closing it out. So this is very similar to Main Dunstable, so I'll cover one, but Main Dunstable is shown on the next slide. The orange area, this was phase 4. All of those spaces were turned over in late October, mid-late October. This purple area, that is phase number 5. That is the area that we are slated to turn over come December. The gymnasium, this is tracking for a turnover of February break. And then from there, we have some flooring replacements that were not completed over the summer that will be taking place over some of the school breaks. And at that point, we will start to move to the exterior of the school to actually remove the portable classrooms that were set up at the beginning of the project. So in the top right-hand corner, I provided sort of a timeline for everyone that just shows how the project will progress as we move through and close some of those items out. And really the only difference is over at Main Dunstable, we do have the transformer replacement that we approved the PCO for last month, and then the elevator work. So both of those items, the elevator is tracking to begin arriving in April, and that work will commence then. I know Jamie and Harriman are working diligently on their design. They were on site with us today. And then we will continue to move through the remainder of the interior items on Main Dunstable, and then complete the exterior renovations through next summer, spring and summer, and then get out of the schools come September.
Any additional questions? Okay. Let's see. By the way, there was no additional update from the design engineers. He's not here this evening. Do you want to go into the PCCO?
Yep. Can do that item quickly. So just a bookkeeping item. This was PCO number 11 was approved last month for the transformer replacement. Again, that was to release the transformer, the piece of equipment itself. And then Harriman's team is working on the design for the other pieces of the puzzle, let's say. So if approved, this PCCO number 8 for Maine Dunstable is in a value of $60,439.09.
So I'll need a motion to approve PCCO number 8 for the Maine Dunstable Elementary School for the transformer work in the amount of $60,439.09.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Alderman Sullivan made the motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else?
No.
All right. So. All right. So, Sean, do you want to address the other items?
Sure, so number 3 on your agenda says the proposal for additional fixtures for Brian S. McCarthy Middle School. After occupying the spaces for a while, the main office staff and some of the other staff throughout the school identified a few additional areas of need. So these are primarily furnishings, and they also are glides for the chairs. So if you look at our chairs, they tend to have feet. So these glides will help protect the rubber floor that's underneath them, so things will slide a little bit easier. It should be in your, through the link, you should have this information. That's Hertz Furniture. In talking to the principal, we did take off one of the items, which was a mobile magazine rack. So we're deleting that. And the total price to purchase all this is $9,116.92.
So need a motion to approve the additional fixtures for Brian S. McCarthy School in the amount of $9,168.92.
Sorry, can you point me in, I'm not finding it, am I being ridiculous? Is it in the link on the agenda?
Yeah, I believe, yeah, on the agenda, there's a link that takes you to all the backup information.
There is, the only thing that's in there is the agenda and then the Harvey's report. And the agenda additions are just the meeting minutes from last time.
Yes, that's correct.
I'll speak to secretary.
Yeah,
Have you been getting them in the past? Have they been attached to that link?
Typically, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I did all of that. Without my microphone on.
we extensively reviewed this particular one, and the most expensive item for a rack for magazines, we said no.
Is this the Hertz Furniture? Okay. What was the motion?
Motion was to approve the additional fixtures for Brian S. McCarthy Middle School in the amount of $9,168.92.
Sorry, that was $16.
Okay.
Oh, say again?
$9,116.92.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Any further questions? Somebody like to make the motion to
Point
approve?
of order, does that mean that none of the next 6?
Can you turn on your mic, Tom? Sorry.
As a point of order, does that mean that none of the next several are going to be in the link?
I
have
don't
a-
think so.
I can tell you how I got to it.
Oh, good. Did you go through the C
Please, I
site?
don't want to just rubber stamp.
So what I did was I went on and there's a hyperlink that says link to agenda items and attachments.
Yep,
Click on that.
Yeah.
It opens up a Google Drive.
yep.
Now, what you have to do is to the left of the JSSBC agendas, click on that, whatever they call it. What's that, an ellipsis?
Yeah.
Click on that and then click on middle school project. And then scroll all the way to the bottom of that one and look for quotes and double click on quotes.
I don't have it.
None of that works for me. Maybe it's because I'm using Safari and not Chrome.
You didn't bring the hard copy, did you?
I have one hard copy.
We could send that around if you'd like to see the hard copy.
Well, I would
Is
like
it,
to have reviewed this. but-
Is it
Is
possible?
it time sensitive?
Can we just get a copy real quick? Everything is closed in here and you can't make a copy?
They don't give me access.
Yeah.
And I can pass it around. We could
Yeah.
set it aside and I'll explain all 4 purchases. and-
Yeah,
I'll just make a quick picture. That's all.
we'll go through all 4 of them, then we'll pass around the hard copies, and then we'll make motions.
7 pages. We talking about all 7 pages? Or what?
Yeah, well, that's the entire, there's 3 or 4 pages of the actual quote. The last couple pages of the boilerplate.
Okay.
And those ellipses are the
So we'll pass that one around. The next item is for school specialties. These are for classroom furniture for Birch Hill Elementary School.
We didn't vote on the last one yet.
No.
Bless you.
Have you got the hard copy of all of them?
I do.
So do you want to wait and vote till we go through all 4 and you've seen the hard copy, or do you want to just do them one at a time?
Because all I get is a PDF. The 12-page PDF. I have no idea how you found that.
Oh, he's coming over.
Well, I have the hard copy.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do my computer. Do you want to?
President of the AV club in high school.
I just watched movies.
You probably need this more than I do.
Click here,
I've not seen this before.
Okay.
go to middle school project,
I've not seen that before. Why are we
go to the
doing that?
bottom, click on quotes,
That is
That's
not
what they've been doing on a lot of stuff to avoid,
located with
and then
a,
hit November
all the
2024
secretaries to
and they're all
avoid.
there.
this is a terrible
We do
system.
the same
I
thing
don't
on
like it.
ours.
And
It's
just
not one that normally,
So yeah, can we give some feedback that this is never going to be accessible to anyone? Like,
Oh, yeah, we do. On ours?
On the,
Board of Aldermen, yeah.
yeah.
How do you usually get it,
get a
like for
hard
Board of Ed meetings?
it's usually when I click
So,
on the agenda hyperlink, you get
been a
3 files that open. One is the construction project managers, one's the agenda, and then one is whatever quotes or additional invoices or whatever.
So there will be an email coming into the Board of Education people that you'll get the quotes momentarily
Okay.
in your email.
But it would be better to just send it as an,
I agree, but just for.
but as a member of the public, like if you're trying to follow along with this meeting or if you're looking it up later, like I would never think to click on these random ellipses that have nothing to do with anything.
well, maybe it is.
Is there any time sensitivity on these?
Only that we're trying to close out the project. Let's see.
It delays the closing of the project, which is hopefully next month.
So can I ask a question?
Yes.
So I'm assuming that there's $9,000 still in the budget, right?
When we go through the finances, lady, you're gonna see that we're returning to the city $6 million from the middle school project.
Right, well then I'm comfortable buying them bookcases and floor protecting things for $9,000.
It's about 1.6 million left in the furnishings and equipment line.
Okay, thank you.
And it makes sense.
Did you find it? It's up. It's these ellipses up here. Go up. Oh, yeah, you don't. Yeah, no, I tried those and it didn't.
So we can move on or what?
Oh, nope, that's the wrong one. Oh, Jesus Christ. Here it is. Ooh. My new cover is
Not
up
how I
too.
enjoy spending time at a meeting, trying to find something when we should have it.
Well, I was making sure that like, sometimes if you go on the city website and it's more accessible, but it's not, I'm not finding it there
It wasn't no intent.
No, I know.
Anyone here, I just think it's a waste of time to search for stuff while you're at a meeting.
I agree. I like to read it before I get here.
Yeah, yeah.
So we can delay this till the next meeting, but if we do that, it's going to delay closing the project probably into January.
I can tell you that last one I just reviewed was reviewed by myself, by the school principal, by Doug DeFina, who's my custodial supervisor, and Alderman Dowd. We all looked at it.
Emailed it just now.
Actually identified the bookcases, the excess costs that didn't need to be spent, so it has been looked at quite closely.
Oh, yeah, we went through this because that's one of the things good.
Tina just sent it to us.
Thank you.
Okay, we have it now.
That's good for you. We don't have it.
Oh,
Can you send it?
yes.
Thank you.
Well, in the future, we can bring hard copies of everything. It's gonna be a
Nope,
lot
Tina
of
sent it
paperwork.
to you guys too.
Yeah, we got
Okay.
it too.
All
It's
right.
it's in our email.
Yay.
Thank you, Tina.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tina.
Yes, she did.
Okay. So do we want to vote on the McCarthy fixtures now?
Yes, if there's no more questions on that. Question?
I have a question. On the document, there was a question mark next to freight.
Free. I'm looking at that.
Freight?
Yes. There was a, let me open it up.
I recall that.
So
I
there's
think
a freight of $740 and there's a question mark on that.
I put a question mark there myself. I guess for tonight, I would recommend you do a not to exceed number, because that freight number includes the magazine rack, which we've deleted from the
So it'll be
closed
less than the
contract. So
total
the number
amount
will
you
be
see.
less.
Okay, can I also ask a follow-up?
Yeah, it says free.
There's an $800 charge that includes the magazine rack installation, and since we're not getting that, should we assume that that amount of money is going to go down too?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a not to, oh, that's why you put NTE.
Not
You're
to
on it.
exceed.
Got it.
And it's the correct
Acronym
number.
handbook tells me that's not to exceed. Excellent.
So would somebody like to make that motion?
So moved.
So, oh, that's right, Alderman Sullivan. All right, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Sean?
Okay, the second item is also for furniture. These are for classroom chairs for Birch Hill through school specialties in the total amount of $13,059.90.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve the additional chairs for Birch Hill Elementary School in the amount of $13,059.90. Discussion?
I'll make the motion.
All right, motion on, it's been made. Any further discussion?
Question, please.
Alderman Sullivan?
Lead time on delivery? Just don't see it here.
That I don't know.
Okay.
I think for this particular area, I think we got time, because it's not,
They're not sitting on the
Right away.
floor. No one's sitting on the floor.
no, nobody's sitting on the floor.
Where are they putting the magazines?
Can you just repeat the cost again?
It's $13,059.90.
Okay, that's what I have.
Any other discussion? Seeing that?
I do have one question.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are these little chairs or they're people-sized chairs? What kind of chairs?
Little
What
people.
size is these?
Student-sized chairs.
Student-sized
Size
chairs, elementary
okay.
school.
All right, little people chairs, okay.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sean?
The next item was requested by our special education department. They don't have this particular device in the school. It is for an electric mobile lift. I think my association with this is a Hoya lift or something like that. Again, in your link, some pictures of the actual lift itself. They don't have these in the classrooms. And between the lift, there's something called a spreader bar and a sling. And those total, with shipping, $7,695.41.
And that includes spares, in case there's a break, they'll have the part right there to be able to fix it. Because this is kind of critical. Yes,
I just didn't catch what school this is for.
McCarthy.
So McCarthy.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
that bottom wing. Discussion, yes, is Raymond?
Did someone make the motion? I'll make the motion.
Not yet.
Okay, I'll make the motion. My question is this a permanently installed unit for like one of the special education classrooms or, a therapy room, or is it a bathroom thing?
It appears to me to be a mobile device that can be used in different spaces.
Okay, I've seen them both where they're on a base and you can wheel them, and I've seen them like welded to the ceiling, so.
Yeah, as I
One's
recall,
definitely has a little arm and a wheel underneath it to move it around.
Yeah, mine does not have a picture. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
That's good.
Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item is proposal for the Stella Stadium fencing. And the reason that we're expediting this, and we have the bid analysis, which Sean will go through in a minute. The reason we're expediting this is one of the contractors is R&D, who's doing the field, and while we have them here, sort of a captured contractor, but Sean, you want to cover the cost differences?
Okay, first, so I handed out a separate handout before the meeting started. So the second page of those, the 3 pages, third page, I'm sorry, is the project financial sheet, which you typically get for any joint special project. And you can see where we have $1.5 million to spend. And we'll talk about a change order in a second, but the original contract that Alderman Dowd signed after you gave him that authority to do so was for $867,795. That gave us the removal of the existing turf, disposal of it. They are, by the way, that's all recyclable, and they are recycling it. It had a replacement of some of the dirt and gravel that are on the field that went to the landfill, and they were happy to receive it because it was clean fill and they can use it. And we're improving the drainage on 2 sides, either side of the field. They had a $30,000 allowance in there as part of that $867,000, but the total cost was more than that. It was $74,000. So we did a change order, which was under $50,000 and under Alderman Dowd's authority to proceed. Since we're already there and the drainage is basically done at this point, so we couldn't wait for this meeting, so he gave them the go-ahead for the change order. So on that financial sheet, you'll see miscellaneous small contracts. That'll be expanded as we go through some of these contracts. And our owner contingency is about $180,000 at this point.
So we probably need a motion to validate my signing that.
Wouldn't hurt. There's change order number 1 for drainage improvements,
Yes,
$44,545.
yeah. So is there a motion to,
Can you just repeat that so I can write it down?
$44,545.
Ms.
The drainage
Drainage improvements.
and
improvements?
stuff itself.
And Alderman Wiltshire has made the motion. Is there any further questions?
I'm sorry, which motion is that? That's for the change order, not for the fence?
This isn't for the fence. This is for the drainage change in addition cost.
Thank you.
And we got the analysis from the company showing that the original drainage was bad and not effective whatsoever. So they came up with a new design, and they're putting that in as we speak, because they had to get that all done before they can even start thinking about putting the turf down. And also Park Rec, we got a bid from R&D to take out all the invasive fire bushes that were in the end zones. It was $18,000, and we said, no, thanks. We had Park Rec do it at no cost.
Oh, great.
Thought you'd like that. Sean, so the fence now.
Okay, actually, almost. So on the second page is.
We need to vote on the,
Oh, we got to vote on the,
Who made the motion? Was that you?
No.
Oh, Ms.
Alderman
Alderman
Wiltshire made
Wiltshire,
it.
sorry.
So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Alderman, yes, Mr. Smith?
So the second page has all the proposed expenditures that'll make up the 1.5 million. You'll see the owner contingency there is actually a little bit less than what's on your financial sheet. That's because we've already gotten some quotes. We set aside $100,000, for example, for drainage improvements. We spent less than half of that. So that shows us where the money's going to be going. Now I'll get to the bids. We have really three action items for tonight. One is for fencing around the perimeters of the field. That it kind of goes into place of where the burning bushes were. It's needed to stop balls from going into the stands and into the other parts of the field, also crowd control. And we requested 3 bids, only got 2 bids in return. The low bid was for O'Rourke, and the amount of $61,300. That also included gates that go on the stands. So if you're familiar with the way the stands are set up, you go down to the very bottom, there's gates that you can get access to the field. So there are times we don't want people going onto the field. So they had put up temporary structures that were not acceptable to the fire department. So these will be actual gates that can open and close. But that's included in the $61,300. So it's perimeter fencing and stand gates.
So we need a motion to approve the award of the fencing and gate work to O'Rourke, the amount of $61,300. And by the way, that is under the budgeted amount we set aside.
I'll make the motion.
Ms. Raymond made the motion. Questions?
I think it's a little bit over budget according to the sheet,
You've
though.
got to add in the security fences, the security gates.
Ah, yay. Also, I just wanted to say thank you for getting rid of the invasive burning bush, so.
There were a lot of them, I'll tell you.
But they're invasive and they spread like wildfire and it's good. So, thank you.
Yes. Any other questions on the fencing and the security gates? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Next item is for the end zone nets and poles. So if you're, again, familiar with the stadium, on either end zone, there are a couple of, currently they're flag poles with a net between them. That's to stop balls of various shapes and sizes from going into the woods beyond there or into the drainage ditch that's beyond. And ones we have are still original to the school. They're getting old and tired. So we're looking to replace those. We did receive 4 bids for this item, and the low bid was R&D Sports, the same company that's doing the field itself, the amount of $36,080.
What was the amount again, Sean?
$36,080.
All right, so need a motion to approve the installation of the nets behind the field goals for an amount of $36,080.
Okay.
That's on both ends of the field.
go.
Alderman
So moved.
Timmons made the motion. Just so you know, this is, again, R&D is there, so when they're doing the field, it's nice and get everything done, so when they leave, they're gone. But they've been doing great work, and they do fields all over the Northeast, so. Alderman Sullivan?
Thank you. It doesn't say here on the quote, unless I miss it. Are we buying 2 nets, one for each end behind the
And
field?
the poles.
Behind the goalposts?
Yes, and the poles to hold them.
Okay, and will those stay up during lacrosse season as well?
Yes.
And if there's a tear from a lacrosse ball, because those things can hum, do we have to purchase a new net? Is there any type of a warranty if one should tear?
I don't,
Haven't
Bust
really
out our
looked into
macrame
that.
skills.
Yeah. Crochet it.
I think these are stronger than the ones that we had before, but I don't know if it's gonna stop a speeding bullet.
Okay.
But it'll certainly stop a soccer ball and a football. Do they normally have them up during?
They're only up 360, 365.
Okay. So they go up in the spring, come down before the winter, but the reason of having them put in now is because we have R&D there to do the work.
Okay.
All right, who made the motion? Oh, Alderman Tunes made the motion. Any other further discussion?
Have we had problems with lacrosse balls going through the old nets?
Well, I don't know about before, but I know when I would go there for lacrosse games, there is a lot of lacrosse balls out in the woods.
Okay.
So I know they do go out into the woods.
Over the net, around the net,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, if they miss the net, that's, but at least they don't have to go through the invasive bushes anymore. But there will be a fence there.
Right, they're gonna get a fence.
There's a fence where the bushes used to be, so if it's low, it's gonna hit the fence and not go anywhere.
Yeah, okay.
All right, no other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sean?
So finally is a request to purchase a new field groomer. That's through the Sourcewell contract, which is the nationwide consortium of purchasing things. That's how we purchased the turf field. So the same idea. This is a device you drag behind a tractor and it grooms the field. So if you're familiar with how the turf field is, it's artificial fibers. They stand up like grass. That's infilled with sand and rubber pellets. And over the course of games or a series of games, it's throughout the field, those pellets and sand get pushed to the side. So like in football, a lot of the game is played between the hash marks on either side. So that tends to get a little barren of the sand and rubber. So we need to groom the field to bring all that back in place, and that's what this machine does. They had one for 23 years, and that one's at the end of its service life.
Yeah, the groomer's been there since the original field, and the Park Rec has had problems with it, and they were pleading on hands and knees to please get a new one, especially with a brand-new field that we're spending that much money on.
I think that's why they took out the burning bushes, so they could get their groomer.
Yeah, it could be. What was the cost again?
$13,508.83 from
13,000?
Turf Products is the name of the company.
13,508.
508.
83.
13,508.83.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll need a motion to approve the acquisition of the groomer in the amount of $13,508.83.
So moved.
Alderman Wiltshire made the motion. Any questions? Yes, Ms. Raymond?
So I'm still unclear on who is going to be responsible for utilizing the groomer, storing the groomer, being in charge of like the actual maintenance of the fields going forward. Is that staying with Parks and Rec?
There is going to be a meeting that the mayor is calling with all the players, including the Board of Ed and superintendent, and to determine what are the maintenance tasks, what are the capital project tasks, and who's doing each one. Because there's nothing in writing right now. Believe me, I've been to everybody, and it's, we've had issues where they wanted to steam clean the bleachers and they wanted the school department to pay for it, and Sean said no. And they actually went ahead and did it anyway, but it's not defined what the tasks are. Like maintenance tasks might be the painting that we have to do now. But Sean and I have been working on a preliminary list, and we'll have to go over that with Lisa Gingras and Park Rec and come to an agreement on what needs to be done, who's doing it, and when.
Okay.
Because if it's not on a piece of paper and written down, people forget.
Right, I mean, even just renting the field out we would have to change our facilities rental policy if we're gonna make that a school responsibility, because our policy excludes Stellos. So I'm still confused about the whole thing.
So, yes, Ms. Williams?
And that brings us to, like, the next one is like, when we go to do the roof and all that kind of stuff, it depends on who's taking ownership or maintenance of it, right?
Well, this project is going to cover all the things on that list this time around. That's already been approved by the Board of Aldermen. And I also want to mention that the Stellas family is attempting to give the city $200,000 towards this project. It doesn't mean this is going to 1.7 million, because I don't think we need to spend the 1.5. So this is a cash from the city. It's not a bond. So we have the list of things done. When we do the list, that's it. The rest of the cash goes back in the piggy bank. So, but they definitely want the 200,000 spent on the field, so that one of the first invoices will cover that, assuming the Board of Aldermen approves the 200K. There's also a possibility that there may be another donor. It'll just reduce the amount of money the city's having to spend.
Any takers?
All right, so I think we had the motion. Did we take a vote on the turf thing? No. So all those in favor of acquiring the groomer signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Park Rec will be very happy, because at least initially they'll be using it. Sean?
That's it for purchases. I'm ready to go into invoices if you wish.
All right. Invoices?
Okay, tonight we have 2 invoices from Energy Efficient Inc. for work at Main D in Birch Hill, totaling $455,352.26. We have 5 invoices from Harvey Construction for their work at Birch Hill, Main Dunstable, McCarthy, Penachuk, and Dr. Crisp, totaling $531,981.45. We have 1 invoice from H.L. Turner Group, the architect for the security vestibules, work at Dr. Crisp, $14,620. We have 1 invoice from McLean Enterprises for equipment at McCarthy, $3,488. We have 2 invoices from Page Street Leasing for Birch Hill Main D storage units totaling $200. And 1 invoice from Turner Building and Science, the commissioning agent, for work at Penachuk totaling $1,701. By project, middle school project totals $204,131.98. Penachuk, the dehumidification, $90,483.33. Birch Hill Main Dunstable, $657,122.75. And for the security vestibule project, $55,604.65. Those all total $1,007,342.71.
So I'll need a motion to approve the payment of the invoices for the middle school project in the amount of $204,131.98. Penachuk Middle School invoices, $90,483.33. Birch Hill Main Dunstable invoices in the amount of $657,122.75. And the security vestibule invoices in the amount of $55,604.65, for total invoices of $1,007,342.71. So moved by Alderman Wiltshire. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now, finances. I've got a sort of a presentation that's gonna give you the high level stuff, and Sean has, and you all have the individual sheets on each individual project. So if you want to ask questions, you can refer to those sheets and ask specific questions. So you got the clicker? Good. Next. So and I'll cover the first one. The Franklin Street project, which is completely done, the total project budget was, $11,310,750, and that was a $5 million city bond, $6,104,200 from ESSER funds, and $206,550 that the Nashua School Department put in. The project cost at completion was $10,860,036.93. The remaining $244,163.07 was transferred by the Board of Aldermen since the bond had already been acquired. And that's from the bond to the vestibule project. All ESSER funds were billed to the federal government paid. Also, just as a note, you'll see on several of these projects that we get energy rebates. That money goes directly back to the city. Doesn't become part of the project, and we've had that question for a long time. But in this particular project, $20,748.50. Questions?
Can we have this PowerPoint at some point? Can we have it emailed or posted with the minutes?
Certainly.
Thank you. Very helpful for future reference.
Yeah, it took me this afternoon to put it together, so it's on a stick. So the middle school project is Fairgrounds, Pennachuck, and McCarthy. All those three schools are completed on time, and as you will see, under budget. Fairgrounds Middle School, total budget for Fairgrounds was $12,121,771.94. The final cost of the project was $10,650,985.25. And $1,470,786.69 was transferred to the Pennachuck Middle School project. Part of that paid for the energy improvements to Pennachuck. And the city got energy rebates in the amount of $11,492.70. Question? No? Pennachuck. Pennachuck's budget, school project was $27,122,145.08. The final cost after, and we haven't, until I signed this document over here, is still an estimate at $26,709,109.17. So the funds left, $255,274. Energy rebates to the city, $46,792.42. The current estimate and remaining funds will be savings to the middle school project. Yes.
Are those a one-time energy rebates, or is that something that is an ongoing? One time. Thank you.
Alderman Sullivan?
Thank you. Could you go back one slide, please? So that 1.4 million moved, and then if you advance the slide, that got kicked in.
If you look on your sheet, you'll see it became part of the total cost.
Okay. So if we didn't, I mean, it all worked out, but if we didn't move, if we didn't have a surplus from. Oh, sorry. If we didn't have a surplus from the prior project, this would have gone over budget, correct?
No, we wouldn't have done the work. We added the air conditioning later, as soon as we knew we had the money.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And believe me, if you talk to the teachers there, they'll thank you 9,000 times. I've never seen people so happy to be cool.
Okay.
Because the new wings were really, because they're single, flat roof buildings with, it was very warm in those. So the McCarthy School, the total budget for McCarthy was $92,180,552.36. The estimated final cost, and again, estimate, $85,756,932.17. The funds remaining that will go back to the city in two different forms, and I'll explain that in a minute, $6,079,820. You remember we had the $10 million bond. It was added onto the project. They went out and sold the bond for $6 million, even though we sort of advised them $4 million, but they went out and sold it for $6 million. So we'll have $2 million in bond money that the board will have to do something with. And the remaining $4 million we just won't bond. In this project, the energy rebates to the city were $77,000 to date, and that goes back into the general fund in the city. And the current estimate is not yet final, I mean, but it's not gonna change a lot. Right, Ken?
Can you explain a little bit about the bonding? So we had an extra $10 million bond. What does it mean that it was sold? And you said
All right, so
6 instead
when
of
we did
4.
the initial cost of the project and we had the estimate for the 92 million, the original bond didn't cover all of that, so we had said right up front, if we needed it, we would add we had a $10 million bond to make sure we had the cost to cover the project. As it turns out, we only needed 4, and they went out and sold a bond for 6. So there's a bond that the city owns for $6 million for school projects, or well, I guess for the middle school project. And as it works out, we're gonna spend about 4 of the 6. Now, it's my intent, but I have to go back to the Board of Aldermen and talk to them. Well, we'll get into it in a minute, the security vestibule projects. We are gonna need a little more money for new Searles, and we'll describe that in a minute. But that could be cash or part of this bond. It's gonna depend on what the city and the Board of Aldermen wanna do. All right? So, eye test, that's why you have a copy in front of you. We did the McCarthy School so that you could
I
see.
failed.
What?
Failed?
So you could see the various, expenditures and where the money came from and everything. I know this is real small, even blown up, it's small, but you have the hard copy in front of you. If you have any questions on that.
Did you have to make this like banner side? Could you not have just done it this way to give me a one tiny point bigger?
If we had a printer that does 11 by 17, we could have. Anyway, so moving on, because if you have questions with that, we can answer those later. But the next project's Maine Dunstable Birch Hill. The total budget for the project is $24,500,000 in bonds, $12,500,000 in ESSER funds, which have already been expended and paid. And the Nashua School District chipped in $110,450. So the total budget for the 2 schools is $482,908. And of course, the project completion is TBD because we have a lot of time left, things to do, but it's in good shape. It's running fine. Any questions on Maine Dunstable Birch Hill? No? Oop. No? Okay. Security vestibule project. There were 3 schools involved initially. When we got started, the initial estimate was $2 million, which was early in the process, and with costs the way they escalated, it didn't cut it. So Dr. Chris is basically complete. Again, another document to sign, as you saw the pictures. And that original budget was, and I think I have it on the next slide, was 1.3 million, but you do have it on your hard copy. And we will have some money left in that project, so again, under budget. And new Searles, as part of the cost that we had, the money we had, the design is complete. Right now, it's being costed by Harvey, and additional funding will be required. We don't know how much until Harvey gets done with their pencil and eraser. And then Mount Pleasant, the design's complete, and nothing's being done, awaiting school determination. But when that comes about, additional funding would be required for the security part of it. Next. Here's the security vestibule project. So $2 million was originally allocated. The final cost for Dr. Chris was $1,422,727.16. Funds remaining, $654,664 at this point. But again, we have to close out the project before that's complete. So current estimate is upon final billing. Funds remaining funds remaining include funds transferred by the Board of Aldermen from the Franklin Street project. That's why there's that much money left. Because you get the 200 some odd thousand we get from Franklin Street. So we're anticipating that the new Searles will be approximately the same price, but we'll have to wait and see how that works out. The design was from Turner. Next slide.
Can I ask a clarifying question
Sure.
on that? Just being new to the transfer is money. So the role of the JSSBC in the transferring of money. So what authority of moving money does this body have to, there's some things that the BOE has to authorize before it gets to the JSSBC. But if funds are being transferred for the BOA, does the JSSBC have any say in making a recommendation to that?
I'll tell you, it depends. And why it depends is that these are different. Like, if on the middle school project, the way the bond was written, that the monies that weren't used at one school gets transferred to the other school within the Joint Special School Building Committee. If there's money left over in a bond for, let's say, Maine, Dunstable, Birch Hill, or then if it's, or McCarthy for that matter, the middle school project, if there's a bond and there's money left over in a bond, the spending authority falls within the Board of Aldermen, and only the Board of Aldermen can make that determination. The Board of Education, if they have a project that's over $1 million, that's a construction project, they take a motion to send it to the Joint Special. So then it's controlled by the Joint Special, this committee. And in the middle school project, where we can transfer money from one school to the other because we took it as a one project for all three schools, then it just falls within this committee. But the money that's left over in the bond for the McCarthy Middle School project, that bond money can only be moved by the Board of Aldermen.
Is that written down somewhere? Just so I can reread that. I mean, I'll watch these minutes, but there was a lot of qualifiers and whatnot, so I didn't. Is that written down somewhere that we can refer back to?
I've spent an inordinate amount of time working on bonds in the city, and you can get the definition on the bonding, moving the money, and from Rose Evans and John Griffin.
Okay.
When there's a bond, the bond control falls within the Board of Aldermen. This committee can recommend, hey, we'd like to take something and move it from here to there, but it's only the Board of Aldermen that can do it.
Right.
As far as moving money from school to school in the middle school project, that money doesn't exist. We had a $10 million bond authorization, but they only sold the bond for $6 million, so the other $4 million has never been bonded, so it doesn't go anywhere. It will help in our estimate on projects because, the spreadsheet that we worked on, they had the full 10 million in there, so that frees up at least 4 million in that particular.
I have a question. Sorry, Alderman Sullivan,
No, go
I'm
ahead.
not done.
No, go ahead.
So the spreadsheet that we're working off of, is there someplace like Lawson or something where these numbers exist in real time? Or like when are they uploaded, or like we keep talking in like kind of hypothetical monies or bonds that we approved but didn't get the whole thing. Is there like almost like I would go to my accountant and say, why do I only have $3 in my bank? And she can say, oh, you spent it all at TJ Maxx.
So we recently had a meeting with all the financial people, Crystal, Rose Evans, Dan Donovan, John Griffin, the superintendent. I think you were there, right? No? On making sure that their numbers and their accounts, which needed some work, to line up with Sean's spreadsheets. And it's just that instead of having the detail that he has in his spreadsheets, they had lumped it in different areas, and we fixed that now. So the numbers that they have in the finance area with the school board CFO and the city CFO match. So everything you see on his spreadsheets are what they have in Lawson.
Okay. And then another question, just going back to the, if we have $1 million project, it has to come here. But if there's a project that exceeds our deferred maintenance but isn't necessarily up to $1 million, do we have to wait for a project to get to the $1 million mark before we can address it?
No, you could have a smaller project come to the joint special if you wanted, just because it needed the attention, of this committee to ensure that it runs on time and under budget. Because if it's an extensive project, let's say it's $900,000, that's taxing Sean's people to try and do what they normally do all day and try to manage the project on their own without, they would basically have the spending authority, or they might have to go back to the Board of Ed for spending, it depends on the project and what it is. So, yes.
Thank you.
Alderman Sullivan.
So just going back to before, because we had a real life example of it. Earlier on, you said that there was money left over from, I think maybe it was Fairgrounds. Let's say it was 1.4 million. And since that was cash, we slid it over to Pennachuck.
It wasn't cash.
It wasn't.
That was part of, there was a bond that was let for, let's say 80 million. There was another bond authorization for another 10 million.
Okay.
That was all for the middle school project.
Yeah.
We allocated it by school based on the prices we had.
Yep.
And then when we came in under budget, we just moved that into another area of the middle school project.
We did that.
We did that.
Okay. All right. I just haven't,
This we, not automatic we.
right, this room.
Yeah.
On the security vestibule project, you mentioned, oh, there it is. It was a $2 million budget. The hard copy that I have here is at 2.273. Is that because we, in that 2.273, that New Searles was in there
We
originally?
moved that over.
Okay.
Any other questions? Believe me, if you want a course in bonding, it takes months.
Yeah, what happens if we no longer have you, Rick? If you decide that you're sick of New Hampshire and you're going to Florida and you're done with the city, where does all of this awesome Alderman Dowd information live so that it can be replicated
Well, I've
by
been doing it-
anybody else who steps into his,
I've been
into
doing it for
your?
over 20 years. I've been trying to find somebody to step up and take over. I had one person and then he got off the board of Alderman, so that,
No, I know, I just like all of this experience and knowledge that you have, I hope you live forever.
me too.
But there's a small element of there's a lot of information that that really, it's not like in a book somewhere.
Nope.
So
Maybe I ought to write a book.
I was gonna say, can we contract with you for Rick Dowd's memoirs? For
A
the
manual on
JSSBC?
projects. I thought of that a couple times and then I said,
Have all these binders?
Well, I think we need to start thinking about formalizing a lot of these procedures that we do when we're coming up with, the money stuff, because if it really can only be explained by you because you have that 20-year reference, then that's not an easily accessible amount of knowledge for the regular person, unless you want to be called
That's
in a
what we said.
seance.
That's exactly.
Yeah, when I left BAE, I was on their payroll for 8 years after I retired, so.
Yeah, so maybe we can come up with a way of kind of pulling out all that knowledge and formalizing this, because it's so confusing.
Well, I've asked a couple times for the Board of Aldermen, for instance, to get an education on bonding, because there's a lot to it.
There is.
And
And I feel like we talk about it all the time.
And
I get it, but
I think
I
that
think I get it until I don't get it.
it's so complicated because we have such a good bond rating here in Nashua that people pay us to buy our bonds. So we get extra savings. We get rates that other cities and towns in New Hampshire aren't getting. And at one point, when David Fredette was still there, we had a bunch of old bonds that were in at, say, between 4% and 6%, and the bond rate was under 2%, and he renegotiated every single bond. So a lot of our older bonds are really inexpensive as far as cost. Now it's up closer to 4, not 4, but probably closer to 4. So there's a lot involved in the bond process. Cheryl Linder was getting up to speed on bonding when she was here. And then she was offered a job to be the top finance person for Bow, New Hampshire, so she gone. So there's a lot to the bonding process. I mean, as far as this committee is, usually when you couple a project, they ask me to go get a bond, and I used to go to David, but now it's John Griffin, now it's Rose, I guess, or maybe it's still John, who's running the bond process, and you have to go to legal and have the resolution written with the correct criteria, and then that has to go through the entire Board of Aldermen process. Fortunately, when it goes through budget, I usually have a pretty good definition of what the bond's all about, but unless it's an enterprise bond, but yeah, it's not going anywhere soon, so it's not an immediate problem, but it takes time and effort. I started getting all of my knowledge from Brian McCarthy.
Yep. I thought he knew where all the bones was buried, but they were buddies.
Oh, yeah. So somebody will step up at some point and start learning.
Well, is
You
there,
volunteering?
No, I was trying to
I saw
funeral
his hand.
away.
I saw that go up.
I don't know,
Yeah.
Tom. I think he just did.
Don't put that in my hands. So I was just thinking, as a practical application of this, just to clarify, you said earlier that more bonds had been sold than necessarily we would need for the middle school project, but per the bond conditions, that has to be for a middle school? It couldn't be used for like a middle-aged/elderly school?
No. When the bond is written, it is written under the language of the resolution that authorized the bond. When its bond is sold, it's sold for that reason. Now, when it's a school bond, it could be transferred for other school projects. Or, I suppose that we could pay off the bond and just do away with it, but you can't. In other words, you can't do a bond for schools and then use it to build a fire station.
But you could use it for Mount Pleasant's thing.
If the Board of Aldermen so deemed.
Stick an elevator in there?
Yeah. We need an elevator at City Hall, trust me.
Well, this is for schools, Alderman Dowd.
Yeah, I know. So, That's we can have a little thing on bonding, but, yeah, I think we need to have one of the Board of Aldermen first so that they understand bonding a little better.
Well, we had a pretty comprehensive meeting about bonding at the new middle school, if people want to refer to the YouTube video of it. Tim and Matt and Dawn came in and educated us because we had some board members who weren't understanding the process, so we pulled in a workshop meeting where they went over the nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah.
So
It's
that was
like
August.
They're starting to do more training. For instance, we have a presentation that's coming up on how you set the tax rate.
Yeah,
I thought you just threw a dart.
I remember Director Cummings' last training to the board involving the Performing Arts Center, and that was crazy.
Let's see, so we paid the invoices, everything else. Is there any other discussion? Ken, did you have anything you wanted to?
Quickly, so Ken Lemarier, project manager, Harvey Construction for McCarthy. So just to go back to kind of this financial discussion, I know Brendan's going to be closing out Pennachuck dehumidification, Dr. Crisp, and next month I'll be closing out the final financials for the McCarthy Middle School. That takes a little longer for an $80 million project to close out 50 subcontracts. So, and similar to what Mr. Smith was saying earlier, you know, once you start to live in the building, you realize that new things need to be added, a couple extra fire extinguishers, new furniture. So we've been taking care of a couple of day 2 items like that, a couple of safety items. So once I close out all of those, I'm closing out all of those subcontracts, making sure that I have all the final invoices. And then once I think that we've got everything, I confirm with my accounting team, sit with Alderman Dowd and Mr. Smith, and we make sure our numbers match. And then if we did our job right, hopefully we give you back money at the end. So right now, tracking giving back from the construction manager's budget, roughly 2.2 million in savings. So next month, we'll be bringing that forward to the group.
Also, as far as construction and all of that part of it, Sean is pretty up to speed on all of that. The only thing he doesn't want to get involved in is Board of Aldermen stuff. So,
Blame you, Sean.
yeah. So he just wants to make sure we have a bond, not get involved in how you get the bond. So if there's
You
not.
got to worry about Sean not going anywhere either.
Yeah.
If
was
I
about
could
to
just
say the same
add to
thing.
that process, I think it'd just be really prudent. Again, I have great faith in Mr. Smith and same, again, I think some of the conversation with Ms. Bishop is, again, how do we build institutional knowledge and standards operating procedures? So Mr. Smith does an incredible job, but I also think it's really important when we have those meetings and you're going over, like whether it's Harvey or EEI or these meetings to review the finances, our COO or district accountant, that someone is matching the spreadsheet to Lawson in the actual billing, just so that, for example, like right now, the billing on Stellos, the accounts haven't been built yet to actually pay for any invoices coming through. So again, what's on the spreadsheet and what things getting done needs to mirror what's going into Lawson. So again, that double check to make sure what's accurate. So I just really strongly recommend in those executive meetings that there is someone from our business office invited to make sure that they can run reports to see where we are in the billing of these processes of, again, what are the PCCOs or whatever change orders, when does that make it into Lawson, and when is the actual billing for the accuracy of the reports coming forward?
Well, we've been waiting to get the Stellos lined up like the other projects, and unfortunately, our Rose has been tied up with responding to right-to-know requests. And she's very busy. But that will be. And as far as the other projects are concerned, we had that meeting with Crystal, Dan, John Griffin and.
I understand that.
Rose.
I'm just saying, I think we should just becoming common practice, just inviting our COO or our district accounting to those monthly meetings when we're reviewing the finances so that we were able to provide accurate information. Not that it's not accurate now, but what's getting billed in the Lawson system so that it's a different report coming forward as well. It's just a check and balance.
Yeah, I think Sean deals with Rose and Crystal on a regular basis.
I would just like to formalize it.
And the invoices definitely get paid or Harvey wouldn't be sitting here. Anything else? Do I hear a motion?
Motion to.
Motion is to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nick?
Motion carries.